I'm Jordan Camenker from Central Florida. I'm a professor of legal studies and I do some corporate comedy. I'm going to tell you about a harrowing experience I had the day I decided to become Swiss in the town of Rawalpindi, Pakistan. I had met a young woman from Sweden on the beach in Venice, Sarasota County, where I lived. And I told her when she went back at the end of her break to Sweden, I said, I will come see you someday. Just count on it. Well, 6 years later, I'm out of college and I went to visit her. The one thing Brigitte didn't tell me, and she meets me as I'm getting off the train. I start walking with her and she goes, you see, sir, down on the beach, that condo. And I go, yeah. She goes, that is where I'm living with my boyfriend, Leonard. She was living with a boyfriend. I go, Brigitte, why didn't you tell me? She goes, but then you would not have come. So I went to the condo on the morning of the third day and I said, it's great seeing y'all. I'm on my way. And they said, where are you possibly gonna go? And I said, wherever the path takes me, that's where I'm going. Several months later, after having gone north and south in Europe and well into Asia, I found myself in Rawalpindi, Pakistan. I had gone that morning from Rawalpindi to Islamabad. They're kind of like Tampa, St. Pete. And it was there that I went to the Indian embassy to get my visa. And they said, well, you need pictures. So, okay, I'll go back to Rawalpindi and get my picture taken and come on back. And I got on a bus and I went back to Rawalpindi, waiting for my pictures to develop in a bookstore. I was in the bookstore. And all of a sudden, bam, 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 bam. Sounded like guns. It was the doors slamming shut on shops. These were doors that would like roll out from the top. Bam, bam. A cloud comes over the face of this just very nice proprietor. And he said, you need to go. And I said, my goodness, what happens? He goes, you need to go. I persisted and he said that the Americans and probably also the Israelis had just attacked the mosque in Mecca. Apparently what was happening, the American Cultural Center was literally just like 2 blocks away. And there was a crowd beginning to develop right there in the streets. And people were jostling Western-looking people, asking them if they were Americans. You're American, you're American. You know, folks with blonde hair and so forth. Well, I had darker hair and I had a German t-shirt on with German lettering. So I just acted as if I were German. And rather than cringe or slide away, I reached into my sock, which is where I had my little Kodak Instamatic, and just boldly walked into the middle of the street and snapped a couple of pictures of the flames licking the building, licking the American Cultural Center. They'd set it on fire and it was burning. And just a few blocks away, there was a large police station and no police, not one, as that building burned. I found my way back to the hotel. I thought I had a decent relationship with the proprietor who knew the desk clerk, who knew I was American. And as I walked in and he looks up at me, these 4 guys come in from the hallway where the rooms are. Immediately, you are American. I was petrified. I didn't know what to say. Then they asked the desk clerk the same question, and he knew what I was. I heard him say, and I recognized 20 or 30 words, which I would learn in every language, that I'm going to visit a country. And I heard him say the equivalent of no, and then he said, Suiza. You are American, they said to me again. And I said, no, Suiza. And they go, that is what he says. You Swiss, you mind your own business. These damn Americans getting into everybody's affairs. They're very, very, very bad people. Come, you have dinner with us. I looked for guidance in the eyes of the proprietor, and the best I could read was, I can't help you here. I don't know what to tell you. So I went with these guys, and they ordered food, and they brought food into the room, and I dined with them for a couple of hours. It was a couple of hours, and I'm thinking, okay, how am I gonna do this? Because if they can speak German, then I'm gonna be like from the French part of Switzerland. And if they speak German and French, then I'm gonna be from the Italian part of Switzerland. And if they've got all three, then I'm gonna be a Swiss removed to Basque, in Spain. I'm gonna find a way. But they all talked in English, and that was it. This is a kind of how I talked. I did not talk in a flat American accent. I just kind of talked like this, and it worked. So after 2.5 hours, I meet up with the desk clerk. He said, I was very worried about you. And I checked a couple of times, listened to the door. It seemed okay. He goes, it is not safe for you. I've made arrangements with my brother in Kashmir. You go tomorrow morning on the train, and you stay there with him until it's safe. It's very dangerous right now. But the next morning, the radio had offered new, correct information. It was Saudi Arabians themselves, extremists who had captured the mosque. It wasn't the Americans, it wasn't the Israelis, and all was safe. What I learned is that there are good people everywhere. There are good people everywhere. That desk clerk put himself on the line for me. He went out of his way for me. He didn't have to, and it was probably dangerous for him. He was concerned about my safety. Someone a month earlier in Iran, when the embassy was captured, had done the same thing for me. And we see this again and again. There are good people in every pocket of every country in the world. So when somebody comes to our country from a faraway land, we want them to leave saying to the folks back home, there are good people everywhere. And they're gonna say it because of you and me. That's what I learned.